All right, welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I'm your man, Big Jack. This is where we prove we are stronger together, that if each one would reach one, we can all grow and glow. And today is another beautiful day, a wonderful day, a day that the Lord has made, and I am glad and happy to be in it. And with all of that, I am also super excited about my guest for today. I mean, this person, we've seen him many times before. We've seen him on the We Be Jamming live show. He has his own show. He has a duet show, and he is definitely one of the top musicians, entertainers in the communities within YouTube in my circles. And I am super excited that he is going to be a guest on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. So, with all that being said, and all that's going on, I'm hoping that everyone that's out there has a wonderful day and they're all ready and pumped, ready to go because we're getting ready to kick it off for the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. And I'm going to bring my guest on the stage. And give me 1 second so I can welcome my guest to the stage. And we're going to welcome to the show. 1 second. Here we go. All right, welcome to the show, my man Shine. What's up, sir? How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Oh man, I'm super excited and I'm really pumped having Shine on the show, the Big Jack's story time. I got Shine on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show, and I'm super excited, man. I'm so glad that you're here today. Really, I am.
No, I really
Yeah.
appreciate the invite. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I've become a true fan of yours and your music and your styles and all that you're doing, and because like I say, I watch you behind the scenes with We Be Jamming live, and I hear that you talk, and I watch your live shows that you do with Creating Change, and I'm
Yep.
like, man, that's the man. So I'm glad again that you're on my show. So for those who don't know you,
Yeah.
those who
Yeah.
don't know who you are, I mean, and I see your name Shine there, but
Yep.
introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who Shine is.
Who I am, my real name's Brian. That's my real first name. So, Shine was a kind of come from a nickname my grandfather gave me when I was young, and then when I started doing the YouTube thing, I attached the dig to it. That whole thing kind of came about with dig for the truth and shine a light on it, right? In whatever perspective you understand to be for yourself. But as far as it goes, I'm 42 currently, and I'm a father, a husband, musician, YouTube creator. Worked as an electrician for 25 years as a master electrician doing BMS systems. So what would be considered current automation systems back in the day.
Mm.
And yeah, I guess that's a summary of who I'm currently.
Hey,
You know.
that's a great summary. That's a nice resume to have. I mean, you got a
Yeah.
lot of good stuff going on in there. One he said musician, electrician.
Yeah.
I heard husband and father. So I like all of those
Yeah.
attributes that you threw out there. That's really cool. So now, if I'm not mistaken, and if I am, please correct me. But you
Hmm.
are in Canada.
I
Is that
am in
what
Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in Montreal, Canada now. That's where I live.
Mhm.
But I was born on the east coast of Canada, specifically Prince Edward Island.
Okay.
So I lived there for about the first would have been the first 7 years of my life. I lived
Mm.
on Prince Edward Island. So yeah, yeah, yeah,
All right, so for those who don't know, and I'm one of them,
yeah.
so
Sure.
so I've been to Niagara Falls.
Okay. Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
far away am I from where you were just describing, or where?
Well, you'd be from here. Niagara is about, let's say, about 8 hours away, and then add another three. So you'd be looking around 21 hours from Niagara Falls because the island itself, like there's a bridge to it now, but like when I grew up there, you used to have to take a ferry to it and
Mm.
stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, no, from there you'd be looking at about 21-hour drive if you were gonna drive it. So
Oh
yeah,
wow. So
yeah,
wait a minute, that's 21 hours from Niagara,
from Niagara,
and I still
yeah.
got to get to Niagara. So yeah, gracious. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
That's a
Uh,
beautiful spot, though. I,
yeah.
I I used to spend a lot of time up there. Did you ever go to Niagara Falls in the wintertime?
Oh yes, yes. I've
Isn't
been
it
there in the
gorgeous?
winter, and I've been in the winter, and I've been there in the summer. So around the 4th of July, I've been there. But then we was in the winter time where the falls were frozen. So we
Yeah,
yeah, and that was it was amazing. Yeah, totally
yeah.
amazing watching, especially when they put the lights on the ice and all of that. So
Uh,
yeah,
it's something if you
it's
get a
yeah.
chance to see. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and
incredible.
I've done the Maid in the Mist and things like that. We got the boat and actually got close to the
Right
water.
down
And yeah,
beside it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So and we've definitely been on both sides, the American side and the Canadian side of the falls. So
very
only
nice.
thing that I would say negative, if there was a negative I could use, is the birds are vicious.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah, so
the
you're like, good
pickpockets,
gracious.
man. They'll take.
Yeah, you come out with your little food, come out that food court, and they snatch your grab. I'm like,
Yeah,
man, they like, what the heck? I've never been attacked, but
yeah.
I've seen many people walk out their door,
Oh
and I'm
yeah.
like, man, they don't stand a
Don't be
chance.
walking around with fries. I'll tell you
Yeah, I'm
that.
telling you,
Like,
them, and them pizzas on the plate, they taking it all, taking the plate, and then they say it's funny because they sit right next to you and eat it, like looking over at you,
oh
like, come
yeah.
on, come get it, come get it. Man, that's
What are
rough,
you gonna
man.
do? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that's rough. So you need to keep your receipt because you might have to go back in and ask for another
Yeah.
slice of pizza.
Exactly.
They were quick too. I was like, man, so
Oh, they're
that,
fast, and they
that
work in
look,
groups, right? Like
yeah, that's the
one will
whole thing.
just.
Yeah, that's like I was like, holy cow, there's no way in the world that bird's like that. So that's the only thing I'm gonna take away the negative. Everything else is so
Yeah.
beautiful, but
Yeah.
I was like, man, there's some vicious birds in Niagara.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's the well the geese are back up here now, right? The Canadian
right.
geese or whatever. And
Mm,
they're running the park. So there's
uh,
like boundary lines like if you're walking by it's like you don't even go near
right.
there. They're
Yeah.
quite vicious, yeah.
And because being from the United States and going up there, the other thing that got me was the gas because
Oh,
we do gallons and they do liters. So you
yep.
think you're getting a deal until you fill up. Like,
No. Yeah,
it's
not
like,
at
oh
all.
man, it's only $1. Okay, like, whoa, wait a minute, that's a liter. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah. a hundred
Yeah.
dollars later, you realize like, oh, they got me, they got me. So,
Well, I was talking to somebody about that yesterday, actually, like even in Canada itself, like how much the prices will vary from province to province.
mm,
And I think right now, like $1.51 a liter, so what times by four for a gallon, I guess it will work out to, or something like that.
right.
But they had to put a quarter of a tank of gas to fill like their car back to full, and that cost them $45.
Oh wow,
So
yeah,
yeah, steep.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no. So yeah, so that was like I say, and it's not. I'm not even saying there's a negative, a positive, a plus, or minus. It's just the fact that it is what it is. So you got
yeah.
to know where you are,
Mm-hmm.
know the rules of the land of where you are. You're not in the state, so you got
Yeah.
to realize that hey, I'm not in the state. I do like casinos, so I've been to the casinos out there too, and I've had a good time. They really good food in the casinos, a lot
The,
of fun games, a lot of entertainment. So had a good time at Niagara Falls. So not the so you're telling me so for your first 7 years,
mm-hmm.
you were on the island. So now what's the
Yeah.
name of the island again? So I
So
can
Prince Edward Island,
Prince
and
Edward Island. Okay.
so my like my parents were very young. Like my mom was well would have been a senior in high school when she ended up getting pregnant with me.
Mm,
So it was pretty quick, as they would refer to it, a shotgun wedding.
mm,
So it was a pretty quick come together between two different families. One was a very big cattle. That was my father's side, so they dealt in dairy cattle, which was really big industry at the time back then, the mid '80s
mm,
to about the early '90s, and it was kind of a situation of where one side, my mom really um, she's a lot like myself, where like she doesn't like being told what to do. I don't think anybody likes
right.
being told what to
Right.
do. Um, and ultimately, that ended up not working out. In around, I'd say about 6 years old or so. So I should talk about, I guess, like the first 5 years, because those were pretty important. The first 5 years of my life, I got a brother who's 4.5 years younger than me.
Mm,
So for the first five, I was on my own and having young parents. I was primarily raised by my grandparents on my father's side,
right.
biological father's side, and My brother came along at about 4.5, which was an interesting time. But I learned pretty early on that due to circumstances that I was gonna have to figure out a lot of things on my own. I mean, my grandparents can only stretch so far,
Right.
and your biological parents are trying to do what they can do, but ultimately that ended up falling out around like I said the 6-year-old mark, and that was when we ended up being moved, me and my brother, to New Brunswick, which New Brunswick, if you're not familiar with that, Prince Edward Island's a little island, and then the mainland is New Brunswick, and then attached to that is Quebec, and then Ontario, where Niagara Falls is, so it just keeps going further west.
Okay.
And when we came over there, that was when we got into the adoption system. So
Mm.
yeah, that was a different time, because growing up where I grew up was kind of like on the island, was more of how could it kind of like a time capsule, like it still is. Like you could go right back to like the road I grew up on, and it looks exactly the same. Not much has changed. You know what I mean? Like it's really kind of preserved. One of the few places that hasn't been touched as time has gone on. And moving from there to a bigger, which was a bigger city for me. I mean, it was 100,000 people from a hamlet of 200 and I think 22 people, where I initially was born and raised,
All right.
to over 100,000. And then kind of going through that process was that was a difficult transition.
Mm.
Difficult for a lot of reasons. One, you don't really know what's going on at that age. I didn't really understand what was happening. Um, and you kind of are just going through this, wondering and waiting and hearing a lot of stuff, and it kind of toys with your mind. But having my brother kind of, I think, really helped me through that period, because it wasn't just about like myself, and I could kind of distract myself with, well, I'll just put myself in front of this and kind of, I don't know, it was a weird little thing that I ended up doing. But it ended up taking quite a few years to, I'd say, adapt to where I was at that point in time, because the mindset wasn't really ever on being a kid. Something kind of changed at that point in time, and it went from, okay, you're gonna figure this out, and now all you need to do is make sure you do good in school, make sure that you're there for your brother, and if you do those things, then you'll get a good job, and everything will shake out the way that it should.
Mm.
There was quite a few hitches involved in that, but that was kind of my core philosophy that got me through those particular years. The school system was interesting too, because they had this thing on the mainland, as we call it, when you're from the island, which we call these interprovincial tests. So when I came over and we were going through the adoption process, and uh, you're waiting for all that to happen, they put you into these different tests, like for vocabulary, mathematics, and stuff like that.
Right.
So I ended up scoring quite high on those tests in grade two, and this kind of just made my situation is kind of, I can laugh at it now, but it wasn't funny at the time. So I was kind of like a burly farm kid, you know what I mean? Like coming over to this city where like everybody had their cliques and their groups and
Right.
everything
Right.
like that.
Right.
And they're like, "Yeah, you did really good on these tests." I'm like, "Okay, great. That sounds like a good thing." They're like, "You're gonna tutor the older kids."
Oh no.
What?
He come over, go to work. He come to work.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it was quite a time period, but that was right around the same time when I found guitar. I was 8 years old, and
Oh, okay.
a fellow ended up giving me. It was just like an old classical guitar that he had around, and there wasn't really any lessons that came with it. It was just something that, like, I kind of met this fellow along the way and figured that there's something that he could do. And I liked music. Like, I was always humming along, singing along to music. It would get me out of my head, kind of not think about what was going on, and not really knowing what's coming next is kind of, not the best feeling at any time, but especially when you're at that age. So I picked that up, and I just kind of banged around on it for a few years. Like I mean, I was certainly would say I was able to play it at that age, but I started, kind of getting my toes wet, sort of thing, and
Mm.
yeah,
So now
yeah,
I got a question for you, if you don't mind sharing. It's the
sure.
because you were saying the adoption. So and being in Canada, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just trying to, I guess, get a grasp on it. So was it like a kinship adoption, or was you in like a foster care type system,
Yeah,
or how did that work? Yeah.
so it started out. What happened was, as far as I understand it, because there was a lot of physical violence between my biological parents. And
Mm.
eventually, uh, the what they call it CPS, so Child Protective Services,
Right,
ended up
right, right.
stepping in, and then they remove you from the home and they put you in a group home type thing.
Mm.
And then it took 2 years before my mom ended up getting her rights back, but my father just ended up giving them. He gave them up right away. Like
Oh wow. Okay.
he dipped out. Yeah. So uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I said that, and because the fact that this month is National Foster Care Month, so that's what National
Hey,
Foster
look at
Care Month.
that. Yeah.
So May happened to be National Foster Care Month, and I know that a lot of people don't understand the process of
Mm-hmm.
being put in one, how foster care work and how people, how it affects people.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, we were foster parents, so we
Okay.
have an idea. So when this month comes up, it's a lot of times where we said, hey, uh um how important it is that people recognize that there are a lot that goes on. And one of the comments you made is one of the things that I observed from some of the kids we had, that I said that every time they're placed in another home, you add another 5 to 7 years to that child's life. So
Mm-hmm.
a child that might be 7 years old, they're 14 years old in,
Yep.
in, in their mind, because they had to develop faster.
Yep.
Yeah, and when you made that comment, I'm like, you're almost proving my mini theory, my inside theory
I
to
agree
the
with
thing.
that
Yeah.
absolutely because there's a lot of things that you just shouldn't. Like I mean, looking back at it now, I mean it's almost like a photograph. Like there's certain things in your mind. I don't know if it's like that for everybody, but for me, there's been certain times where like that photograph's taken, right? And
Mm,
when you got to go, one thing we had to do was I had to speak for my brother, right? So
mm,
when we went in and you're in front of the judge and the judge is asking like, do you want to go back and like, do you want to do whatever? And they give you a couple options. And I remember at all of that, the only thing that made me like excited, which might be kind of weird, was I actually thought I'd get to see my father that day because he was
mm.
supposed to show up to the court. You
Right,
know what I
right,
mean? He was
right.
supposed to do all that, and he didn't show up, right?
Mm,
So I laugh at that, but I don't laugh at it at the same time because it was a pretty crushing blow. Because even after that, there was still this like wanting to know, wanting to understand. Because like I had the memories,
mm.
the early memories, but it affected my brother in another way because of that age gap. Like he didn't remember,
Right,
that
right,
side of the
right.
family or anything, right? So
Mm.
yeah, it's and anybody that does do the foster care thing and helps people out, or Boys and Girls Club was something that I got involved with later myself. It's just if you can do it, because like it's amazing how little it takes to shift the direction of a kid, right?
Right,
Like
right.
I find once we get older, you got a little bit more stuff to work with, but work against maybe, but yeah,
And I really, Sean, I'm gonna say I want to thank you for sharing, because I
uh,
know that it's personal and a lot of stuff you go through. But at the same time, one, it is the foster care month, the National Foster Care Month. The other
yeah,
part is there's a lot of people I believe that might be in the chat and they might be watching this video later that just didn't know. And because you don't know, sometimes you need to hear it from someone who's been through it.
yeah,
We can read 1,000 books written by people who don't even have kids, who never
mm.
been through the situation, and they like, yeah, and this is how you handle this, and this is how you handle that. And it's like it
Yeah,
doesn't work like that. Because I remember,
no,
and I just want to share this quick story, and then we're gonna take a quick break. But
sure,
there was one of the young ladies we had in the house. with us. And one morning she said she had a headache. So, and she had to be about 5, 6 years old. And I'm like, she said, I got a headache. And I'm like, you're too young to have a headache. She's like, kids can have headaches too. And I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely correct. I don't know
Yeah.
why I even said the comment that
Yeah.
you're too young to have a headache, but it's like, but the way she said it was not like I was talking to a 5 and 6 year old. It's almost like I'm talking to a 14, 15 year old. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you are 100% correct that kids can have headaches too. And let's see what we can do to take care of your headache. And that right there had my whole perspective on the fact that I'm talking to a young adult in a sense, even though they are kids, but they're only kids, but their experiences is far more than half of the adults that's in the
Oh,
world for sure.
absolutely. Like there's that's interesting because like they have a lot of the people, and even myself, like it was I remember having my first like real conscious thought because we lived in a like again like farmland, but there was a lot of wooded area. So like I had my own little wood kind of fort out in the
Mm,
woods that I go hang out, and I wouldn't spend much time around the house just because that's where a lot of the chaos would be.
right.
Um, but I remember sitting there like in kind of the way the sun would come through the trees, having that thought being like the next part's going to be rough, but you're going to be all right. Like, you know what
Mm,
I mean? And just kind of
right.
having that wheelhouse of, all right, I'm going to learn as much as I can, as fast as I can, and make sure I'm all right. That was it.
Yeah. So,
So,
Sean, we're going to take a quick break.
yeah,
We're going to come back and we're going to get a little deeper into what you just said here. And
sure.
there's a question that Brandon of Palm Beach put in the chat, and then we're going to answer that question.
Yeah,
He asked me how many kids did I raise through foster, and I'm going to throw that answer out there when we come back. So,
excellent.
I think everybody that's here, we see Brandon of Palm Beach, B. 2075. B is better than Nightbot, 100%. She is
Yeah,
better than
absolutely.
Nightbot. So thank you,
Absolutely.
B, for being out there. Casey, Inspirational Tales, and I believe she's on your channel coming in here
Yes,
today. So
KC.
hey, Casey, and thank you for being here. Sharon Jackson, that's my mom. So Sharon
Ah,
Jackson, thank you for
nice.
being out
Thank
there.
you.
Nisi Jackson, that's my aunt. So thank you, Nisi, for being here. And Magic Healing, Amina, I want to say I said
Amena.
that's Amina. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's on your
yeah,
channel. So hey, Amina, thank you for being here, and everyone else is here through the
yeah.
Iron Sharpening Iron show. I got my man Shine on the show with me, and we're going to have a good time. But when we come back, we're going to answer some of those questions, and we're going to get a little bit deeper in the conversation. So give me 1 second so we can run this quick commercial, and we'll see you in a second. All right, thanks, Shine.
Right.
Get ready for the ultimate live experience. Join us on stage where music, poetry, and comedy collide in a night to remember. Top musicians, spoken word artists, and comedians come together for a unique and unforgettable show. From soulful melodies to side-splitting jokes, this jam-packed event has it all. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride as we bring you the best of the best in this one-of-a-kind performance. Are you ready for the next We Be Jammin' Live?
All right, welcome
Yeah.
back to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. Got my man Shine on here with me, and we're talking about his younger years. We're talking about those years around 8 years old. I think is when we stopped because you said you got your guitar around the 8 year old mark.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna definitely get a little deeper into that conversation if you don't mind. We Be Jamming Live. It's the last Saturday of every month, and the next We Be Jamming Live is going to be May 31st. So May 31st, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We put musicians on the stage, comedians on the stage, poets on the stage. We have a really good time. It's really fun. It's all about as Shine Show would say, good vibes and
Yeah.
vibing out there and having a good time. So,
Yeah.
but you can
It is
see
a great
Shine.
time. It
You
is a
can see.
great time.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You go
No,
ahead.
no, like I mean, if you got anything, like we say it on the guy Shine Show, but you know, we really appreciate the Weeby Jamming because it's a great way to just get yourself back out there. And I noticed, especially the last one, a lot of people coming in and finally
Mm,
kind of owning their craft again. And
right.
sometimes you get out of it for a minute and think you might be out of it, but don't sell yourself short. Keep working
Oh
those
yeah, yeah.
talents, man.
Look, one of
And
these shows, I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna sing.
yeah, I
I
know
can't
you.
sing, but I'm going to sing. I'm gonna have some fun because
Yeah.
it's like I'm sitting back, like I'm a little nervous. It's funny because I do. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna embarrass myself singing, but you know what? I'm gonna just
Ah,
one day I'm gonna just roll with it and go with it.
that's
So
it. That's
yeah.
it. When you
So there
feel
was
it.
a question that came up before we went on the break, and it was right there. He said, "How many kids did you raise through foster?" And that's from Brandon of Palm Beach.
That's
So
cool.
in my home, when we were foster parents, I think we had 8 or 9 different kids.
Wow.
So and they were all different times. So we've had they have a program called Respite. It's where just a foster parent might need a break. So they're foster parent a kid, but they need to go on vacation or they need or need to go somewhere or have something going on. And when they do that, they would need somebody to take their role, take their spot. So we had a couple of kids do respite, and then we had a couple of kids that was just we needed a place for them while we worked things out. Maybe something happened on the Friday, and we were not going to be able to see the course until Monday, Tuesday. So we need
Hmm.
somebody. So we've had different kids come in, and the thing is, every kid that we've had come in our house, we treat them like they're ours, 100%. I've been in the
That's
store. I bought
awesome.
I bought more cribs and bassinets and Pampers and this and that because it's sad how a lot of kids they come with nothing. They don't have anything. All they have is
Yeah.
the bag with their belongings is all in this little trash bag rolled up and they
Hmm.
throw it, and that's how they come to you. And then when you come in, we have to, you have to, you're basically starting from scratch. But
Hmm.
why I said what I said about, and you helped me confirm a little bit, was that you add those years because every home that you go to have different sets of rules,
Hmm.
and that kid would have to learn a new set of rules. Like, okay, we do this here, but the last house you might have been at doing something different,
Yep.
and now you have to almost adjust everything that you know, and you're a kid, so you're 6 7
Yeah.
8 9 years old, and
Hmm.
you're making life decisions. Like you said, you're speaking up for your brother in court
Hmm.
at a young age, and that's where a lot of people just don't understand that part of the process and that part of. So I thank you for sharing because it allows me to share some of my experiences, and I'm not trying to expose you,
Oh
but
no, no,
I
no, not
think
at
that
all.
is needed that other people understand. And it
It.
just happened to be the National Foster Care Month, so
Yeah.
so I was able to talk about that. But
No, and you know it is like I mentioned before we kind of started the show. Like I've had, unfortunately, not all of them are still around. And like again, I'm 42, so most of the people I knew were my age or a little bit younger, and the toll that process took on them because sometimes it would take years of in and out.
mm,
You know what I mean? In and out, and
mm,
then they just kind of get lost in themselves. And I mean, just incredibly talented. Just it's. I wish there was a better way. I guess
yeah,
that's what I want to say. But I like what you said because honestly, I'm not sure that we have a program like that up here. Where like say if the foster parents need a break, that there's somebody else that comes in. Like usually
mm.
they'll go back to the home and for whatever that time period may be. But yeah, that's really cool that you've done that. I
Yeah,
mean,
they have
8 kids.
and that's what they call it, the respite program here in the state that I was in. So, but at the same time, what you're saying, and this is like I don't know how. Again, you can explain if you want, if you have the information.
Mm-hmm.
But I know like the first family that a child is placed with,
Mm-hmm.
or the first family the child is placed with, they give them like a stipend, so to help them get clothes or shoes or different things that they made Pampers or whatever. So that's where the state I was in. That's how it would work. But that's the first family. So if you went to any other family past the first family,
Yeah.
there was no more stipends. There was no more monies. There was nothing. So if you was the second family, you just got what they came with.
Well,
So,
back then, like, I know it hasn't changed that much, but back then how it worked was they would take you in if they. I don't remember getting anything, but I do remember the first place in particular because it was all about how much everybody was worth per head, right?
mm,
So the government gave X amount of dollars per head per kids,
mm,
which ended up causing a lot of problems because they would. I guess like the easiest way of saying it now would be they kind of had way more demand than supply. So,
right,
rather than like, being able to take care of, let's say, four kids or six, whatever the legal amount was, a lot of places would have double or
mm,
2.5
right.
times, right? So, yeah, a lot of close quarters and, lots of
Oh
stuff
wow,
that goes
yeah.
on with that. So, yeah.
No, and I remember because you said that
Mm,
our house was set up where once they do it, they come to your house. So this is how to say a caseworker. You say I'm gonna be a foster parent. We
yep.
had to go through classes. We had to actually take classes. You had to
Oh,
do a
yeah.
background check. You got to do all of this to be a foster parent. We always thought that was weird or funny in a way because you
But,
do all of that for a person to be a foster parent, but all you
mhm.
have to do to be a parent is just have sex. So you didn't need no classes. It's like
No,
only
maybe you
reason
should
you
have took a
yeah,
class.
should have took some classes. So
Yeah.
that's where it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
All you had to do is do this, you're a parent, and
Yeah.
now I gotta go through all of this to be a foster parent. But it's okay. And it was okay.
Yeah.
But our home, once they finished with the study, they say, okay, well, your home is set up for one or two foster kids, right? So you
Right.
can have one or two. Our first call was for five. Like we didn't even set up for five. So
What
how
are
you
the
gonna
point of
call?
these rules
Yeah,
if
like
no
I say,
one's
but
gonna
it's like,
follow them?
but the
Yeah.
thing was, it was five kids. They were all siblings, and they didn't want to separate them.
Oh,
And
okay.
so they
Yeah.
called and say, "Hey, could you take?" And we just was not in position. So that's another thing. If you will be a foster parent, you
Well,
got to be honest with yourself and be honest with the kids. We wasn't in position for five, and
yeah.
because we didn't want to separate it. It's really hard to say no when that phone call come, but at the
Mm,
same time, you got to be honest with yourself and be honest
no.
with because you want, like I say, you want to treat them like your own.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, if you don't have a car or a minivan or something that's going to be able to transport five kids, then what are you going to do? I mean, what can
Yeah.
you do? So, and if you don't have five or six bedrooms, where are
Yeah.
you going to put them? There's just so many different things that you have to think about and count up the costs. Don't just say, well, yeah, that's $5,000 I can get. No, because
Exactly.
that is the
That's the
wrong
wrong
answer.
approach.
Wrong
Yep.
answer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where a lot of people make the mistake, and
Yep.
they again, like you said, they go after the heads. They're like, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
can make this much money, but
Yep.
those are kids, and those are kids' lives. So
Yep.
we used to have to take them to the doctors. We had to take, you had to do all of that stuff because
Yeah.
they're your kid. They're actually under your care at this time. You're their legal guardian in a sense because, of course, it's appointed them or placed them with you for this time frame. So
That's right.
anyway,
Yep.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you're 8 years
Very
old,
good. Yeah.
Shine.
Yeah.
You're eight
Yeah.
years old and you got your guitar. So how was that? I know you said no music, no lessons.
No,
So
that was that was back in the day of cassette players. You remember
okay.
those like you could like play record like when the
Yeah.
radio station would come
Right,
on?
right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I would I'd sit and I have like my one cassette or whatever and I just try to catch the song at the top of the hour, which usually was like an AC/DC song or something like that. And like you'd catch piece of it, and then I'd sit there and I'd just bang around on it because like I figured out how to tune. That was one he did. The fellow that helped me out there, his name was Brad,
Mm,
that gave me the guitar, and he taught me how to tune it. He's like, the rest is up to you. I was like, all right. So I'd sit there and then I'd just kind of figure out like the root notes of each chord, and then I eventually got through that. I did that for about 2 years, and what I learned was like bar chords or power chords, like not your traditional like G, C, D, and whatever.
mm,
That came later, but I plugged away at that for about 2 years, and during this time, this is when I was being transitioned to this new school,
okay.
and there was this fella who was like. Well, the one and only bully I ever had, but he was a real tormentor for like 2 years. I'll tell you that,
Right,
man.
right. Okay.
Yeah, so he'd wait around, and every day we'd scrap. And one day the principal just picked us. He was this big man. He just grabbed us both by the scruff of the neck. He's like sits us at one end of the hallway and the other
Mm,
end of the hallway. And he goes, either the two of you are gonna kill each other, or you're gonna become friends. He goes, either way, I don't care, but you're gonna figure it out, right?
right, right.
So we're sitting there giving each other the dead eye from one end of the hall to the other. And he gets up and he walks over and he shakes my hand. He goes, "My name's Trevor." And we ended up getting on the bus. And when we moved to this area, it was like Riverview, New Brunswick, is what it was called. There was this area where it was like section housing kind of thing. So
Mm.
we were staying in that, and this is so 2 years this is going on and off, and we finally decided to bury the hatchet, so to speak. And he says, "You're living in blank," and he lists off the number, and I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you ever notice the hole like on the main floor on the the main floor when you walk in? There was a bathroom off the kitchen,
Right.
and there was a hole like." And I remember the first day, like thinking about this, like being 8 years old, walking in. I go, "That looks like somebody's head was drove through that door." You know what I mean?
Mm.
And he ends up telling the story that that's where he was living before with,
Oh, wow.
and
Wow.
so anyway, we skip through that, and he gets to, "Do you like music?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And I mean, like at the time, I mean, all the, Nirvana was on the go, and everybody was wearing plaid shirts, Doc Martens. So like, I mean, music was just at a great time at that point, in my opinion. And I said, "I do." And he goes, "Well, you should come over." And that's when this guy was just like a maverick. Like he could turn a drum set, any like set of pots and pans in a
Gotcha.
cardboard box, and just it
Right.
was just unreal.
Mm.
And that was the first time I kind of sat down with somebody else who played, and he was at a higher level, and he was able to like actually teach me chords and stuff like that. And yeah, it's actually funny that we're having this conversation because the first time I've heard or mentioned that guy's name in almost a year now is today, and he
All right.
just
Okay.
he just found out he has a 21-old son himself that he never knew about till.
Oh, wow. Wow. So, yeah,
Yeah,
we've had that
yeah,
story before on the show. So, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty cool.
mm,
So, I think it's Noble. Yeah, I guess
yeah.
yeah, Noble. Yeah, he made a comment. We put it up on the screen real quick. It says, "Man, good old days waiting for the radio to play the song to hurry and hit record on a tape recorder." Now, hey, no, but I'm telling you this. That's if you had your own blank tapes.
That's
So I
right.
remember having to cover the ends with tape
Oh
or
yeah.
those other pre-recorded tapes and tape over it. So you had to cover the ends up. So
Yeah,
yeah, and then someone said putting the pencil out. So that was Brandon Palm Beach said, yeah, remember using a pencil to tighten up
oh,
the cassette. Yeah, you
many
remember those days.
times,
Oh
many
yeah, yeah,
times.
yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So you had your mixtape and you had your little, all the little slow songs. And it's funny because you get upset because the fact that the DJ would say something. It's like, you messed my
Oh
tape up, man.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, this is WPB. Like, come on, man. Why you throw that in there? Yeah, but
Yeah.
now I remember the old tape recorder and putting the tapes in, and it's funny that we're talking about that because my youngest son one day we in the garage and we're moving things around, and a cassette tape came out, and he like, "What is this?" Like, "Dude, that's a cassette tape." Like, what? What
This
y'all
from a
do with that?
time long, long
Yeah,
time ago. Yeah.
yeah, it's funny because I'm like, it's
Yeah.
funny because somebody gave me a DVD the other day to look at, and I'm like, where I'm gonna play this at? Who got a DVD?
That's a
Yeah,
challenge to like actually like because they don't have them on computers
yeah,
anymore,
yeah. Like I
right?
said, they only put them. So I'm like, what I'm supposed to do with this? I said, I think I still got a DVD player at home. Let me take it home and see it. But yeah, that was crazy. So yeah, so that's
Mhm.
it. I see Nobles is out there and he said, "Yep, ruined the end of the song." Yeah, 100%.
Mhm.
That's what he used to do.
That's why I
And
had to
P is
sit there to the top of the hour trying to catch the
just
other
trying to
half of the
catch the
song.
songs. Yeah, yeah. Or we used to have we called yeah, you could use the old PlayStations. Yeah, people did. That's what they used it
Yeah.
for. I remember when and I'm telling my age now when we had the VCRs. So I remember the first VCRs come out. Those things was like 100 pounds, and you could
Mhm.
put things on top of it. When you hit the eject button, it will pop it up in the air like 20 feet. So all my toys is on the top, so I can hit the eject button and watch it pop up. So yeah, that was my fun days. So yeah,
Yeah, the
so
beta. It was the beta before the
oh yeah,
VHS,
the
right?
little tiny, yeah, the little
Yeah,
Betamax, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And then there was one even bigger than that, and we never had one of those. So, but
Yeah.
I only seen that on
Yeah.
TVs in the rich people houses. So we
That's
didn't have
right.
one of those.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yep.
But I remember a family member buying a VCR, going out and went to buy a VCR, came home, thought they had a real good deal, opened up the box, and it was a center block.
Oh no.
So can you imagine how big a VCR was that you didn't know that you had a center block in the box? You just like, so yeah. I was like, man, we was all gun ho ready to watch this movie. We sitting there, popped the corn and everything, opened up that box, and it was a center block. So
Oh man,
yeah, there we go.
That's a raw deal. Yeah.
And look, and Noble said it right, because remember that used to come up all the time too. You go to the video store and they say, "Please be kind and rewind." Yeah, rewind and tape.
I remember they used to ding you with fees sometimes.
Oh yeah, you got charged more. Yeah, they would charge you more if you didn't rewind the tape. Yeah, heck yeah. And it was funny because it took longer. It took just as long to rewind it as it did to watch the movie.
Oh yeah.
And then you're like, dang, I want to watch the second movie, but I gotta wait
before you could get like the triple speed on rewind. It's like,
or they had a little portable rewinder that sat over next to the VCR that you could put it in, just rewind tapes and all. So, I mean, we've come a long way.
It's wild. Like I remember even like they had laser discs for a while.
Oh yeah, and that's what it was. The big ones, the big laser.
Yeah, those giant. They were like a vinyl.
Right,
like 12 inches across.
And that's what it was. We never had one in the house, but I remember that going on. So Niecy Jackson said, "You're talking about your grandmother." See, I didn't call my grandmother out. I just said a family member. She called her out, so let it be known. But it was my grandmother brought home that center block. So, and look, it was funny because she brought the center block home, and if it had that been anyone else, we'd have really got on them. But it was Grandma. We ain't could say nothing.
You can't say.
We just said we had to ride with it, man. Man, shoot. It's all good. Hope you didn't pay a lot. That's all it was.
You did good. You did good.
You did good. You tried. You tried. They wasn't like you can go to Walmart, nothing then. It wasn't none of those things. Yeah. So, but it was cool.
Had to go to a VHS shop. Like, it's like back when they had vacuum cleaner stores and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh my God, vacuum cleaner store. Yes. So, but that's funny as heck. So so we definitely have come a long way from the mixtapes. And look, you're talking cassette. I remember the 8-track tape, the 8-tracks. Yeah, the 8-tracks. And I used to play. My favorite one was Queen. I love Queen. Queen, We Will Rock You. That song was. I played that thing. It was like number 5. I would click. We will, click. We will, and it's like, man, I love that song. So I definitely would play that over and over and over and over and over again. So yeah,
that was the moment I had a Volkswagen van. I remember buying like a '76 Volks, I think.
Right.
And it was a Vanagon, like 5-speed. And anyway, I remember opening the glove box and like seeing these things. I'm like, what are these video games? And they were 8-tracks, right?
8-tracks. Wow.
Yeah, they're super cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So we're gonna take another quick break, and drop the commercial again, and then give some shout out to the people that's out there, because they definitely put some chats out, and we appreciate everyone that's here on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. Got my man Shine with me. Be Better Than Nightbot is out there. It says Miles McWalker. So Miles McWalker, Positive Music. Hello, Miles, and thank you for being here on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. Keep going down the list. Brandon Palm Beach is in the house, and Niecy Jackson, Sharon Jackson, and we keep going up. The Source is in the house now, so the Source is here. Noble is there. And just want to make sure we don't miss anybody. And if I do, it's not personal at all. It's just me going through. So Power and Redemption. So that's on your channel. So Power and Redemption. And we're just going up and down the list of who's here. And again, we're going to drop this commercial, and we'll be back with my man Shine. So please stay tuned.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Get ready for the ultimate live experience. Join us on stage where music, poetry, and comedy collide in a night to remember. Top musicians, spoken word artists, and comedians come together for a unique and unforgettable show. From soulful melodies to side-splitting jokes, this jam-packed event has it all. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride as we bring you the best of the best in this one-of-a-kind performance. Are you ready for the next We Be Jammin' Live?
All right, we're back to the Iron Sharpening Iron show. Got my man Shine with me. We just having a good time talking about cassette tapes.
Yeah, yeah.
And look, and the plan. It's amazing how when we were just talking and how you said that the school bully ended up being y'all found out you had some things in common.
Yep.
And then they also found out you had the musical talents, and that's just amazing. So,
Yeah.
hats off to your principal for grabbing y'all back by the neck and telling y'all gonna
Yeah.
get along or whatever. And
Do you know the show Jeopardy?
yes, yeah.
He was actually my principal of my elementary school at that time was on Jeopardy, and I think he was like he did like 13 in a row. Like
Oh
if you
wow.
want, yeah. So, Steve's was his last, Mr. Steve's. You have
All
to go
right.
back into like 92, 93 if you're into
Okay.
Jeopardy.
Well,
But
no,
yeah,
that's what's up. Look, to make
yeah.
13 shows, you got some stuff going on.
He was a smart fella, very smart fella.
Look, a lot of people can't say their principal was on Jeopardy, so that's what's up. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So thank you. So we're at a point in time, and I got another guest we're gonna bring on the stage.
Sure.
This is my man getting ready to come up. So give me 1 second. We're gonna bring him on the stage and
Yeah.
have a little deeper conversation with you, Sean, and everyone else that's in the chat for the Iron Sharpening Iron show. Give me 1 second here. Man, my man,
oh man, Shine, how you doing, sir? I've heard a lot about
great.
you, man. Pleasure to finally meet you, man. How you doing?
As well. I'm doing great. How
man,
you doing?
Hey, look, I'm sitting here just cracking up because I'm gonna give you two quick ones, man.
Yeah.
About 90-91, the Ford Explorer came out. So I had a buddy that used to work, one of the older guys that used to work with me, was about to retire.
Yeah.
And he worked over on our shift that morning. We're eating breakfast at the firehouse. And he says, he said, I'm getting ready to buy this new SUV, Ford Explorer, yada, 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 right? This new thing, the hottest thing out. So he says, if you know anybody who wants to buy a 1982 Buick Riviera, AM, FM, 8-track, let me know. And I'm sitting at the table and I'm saying, hey, Raymond, 8-track. They had cassettes back then. He said, yeah, I told him it wouldn't last because you had to keep flipping the tape over. I said, man, that was before they came up with the auto reverse on the cassettes, man.
Yeah.
And so before I got on the fire department, my first job from 82 to like 85, I worked for a TV rental company. I used to do repossessions. Oh, wow. And my motto was no green, no screen.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, we used to rent Betamaxes.
Yep.
19-inch color TVs and floor model TVs. And it was easy to walk out of the house with a floor model television because it was all cabinet. And I was much stronger and in shape then. Then a Betamax, man. The Betamax, man, was heavy. It was heavy.
And not easy to lift.
Like, oh, no, man. I mean, it was just like, man, it was just like built like a fire plug, man. I mean, it was just like solid, So, yeah, man, I just laugh. I'm sitting there laughing, man. I'm like, and I remember when I saw my cousin who was in the band, he introduced me to my first CD. Yeah. And I'm like, man, this is the coolest thing ever, And of course, I didn't even have a CD player. We had to go to somebody's house who had a CD player. Mm-hmm. And now it's gone full circle, man.
No, yeah. 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Never been to Montreal, man. Been to Toronto a few times.
Oh, yeah? That's
for
just
bowling
a hop
tournaments.
skip away.
Yeah, for bowling tournaments, man. But and it's been a while, but I was just amazed at once you go across that border at the time, this was probably late 90s, man, maybe early 90s, how different it was as far as how advanced. And I'll tell you how long ago it was. The last time I was there, Canada had daytime running lights, but America didn't. They weren't mandatory at the time. They were just starting. They were optional. And I was just amazed that everybody's coming down the street with their lights on, which seemed like nothing, but it was a big deal back then, man. So I guess I'm kind of showing my age, but man,
that's actually, man, that's wild. Because like I remember when that change came, I remember people like were up in arms about it, but like the idea was it was like if you can't see somebody coming or like you know what I mean, you don't get that flicker of light. Plus there was a lot of trouble during that era with drunk driving and stuff like that.
I can imagine.
So yeah, it was rough.
Hey man, shout out to both of you guys, man. The conversation about the foster care, man. I mean, it's touching, man, and that's you know, and you go fast forward, man, it's like wow, you know, I
Yeah,
mean,
Mm,
yeah, it's
yeah.
like wow. So,
mm.
hey, man, I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys sharing that with me, man. I was sitting backstage, I'm like, wow, you know, it's like every
Mm.
time I turn around, I learn something new. So this
Yeah,
is
and
pretty cool.
that's what it's all
Yeah,
about right here. And
I
we know
learned
that.
something new.
So
Yeah.
I thinking, and Walt, now I'm not calling you
Mhm.
out in any kind of way, but I'm thinking that your mic is rubbing your shirt.
Okay.
Yeah,
How about this? Is that better?
100%. I appreciate it.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah. Because I'm
Hey,
trying to
That's
find out where it's at.
teamwork. That's
I'm like,
teamwork, guys. I was like,
step
sometimes
my
it
game up
scratches on
again
my
for real,
beard.
yeah, man. I'm sorry, man. You know, amateur
No
night
worries.
here, man. Jack leg YouTuber, man. I'm sorry, fellas. Thank you.
nah, you're good. No, you're
No,
good.
no,
Hey,
no.
My attention, man.
You good.
nah. It was just
Yeah.
I could hear it. I couldn't find where it was at, and I'm like, is it me? Is it me? But
Man,
anyway,
just talk to the jack leg guy, and it had to be him.
it's all good.
No, man.
No,
No,
it's
Yeah.
all good.
yeah,
So now, Walt, we got thank you for being here on the show. So those who don't
whatever.
know and those who might be out there, Walt Talk is he's a regular on the Iron Sharpening Iron
Yeah.
show. He comes in and get a little deeper in the conversation. So I know that you've been listening in the back because you just
Yeah,
told us pretty much everything that we went through.
yeah.
But I don't know, have you ever heard or watched Shine play before? Have you seen him
So
perform?
I've seen him just bits and pieces, and you know, I know, you know, and like I said, I hope I'm not calling you out, Shine. It seems like he's a guy that likes to be behind the scenes. And but you know, you and I have had conversations about him, and I had no idea. I don't know how I missed this that you are in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I had no idea, man. So you know, guys, one of my favorite guys, and I'm just like, man. So how did you guys hook up? How did you connect?
Well, that's a good question. I started, how I started doing the YouTube thing was, after I stopped, because I toured, like, I had my own bands between primarily around 15 to about 23. 23 was the end of the run, just due to everything that comes with that lifestyle. But we toured and we did all that kind of fun stuff. And then I just got out of it, and life, takes a turn. You got to do something else. So I did that, and then I got back into doing sound tech work, which was more like just like making sure that the performers, and like they're some of them were pretty big performers, at least up here. I don't know if you ever heard of Chaos or like any of those kind of guys, but um, there was a thing on the radio, and she was my girlfriend at the time. We were driving back, and I was living in Alberta, and she said, "Yeah, did you hear what that radio advertisement said?" And it was like, "Oh, we're looking for somebody who knows how to fix guitars, blah blah blah. Like this band's in town tonight." I'm like, "Well, if they're still asking in 45 minutes, right? No, don't get on the iron while it's hot." I'm like, "They're still asking in 45 minutes. I'll call in." So I called in and ended up jumping on, got the gig, started doing building a name for myself, just being like the guy in the background, like you said, like making sure everything's set, making sure the guitars are ready to go. And then I kind of didn't really I liked that for a while, but dealing with artists, and I know this is myself, from it's kind of like going from one home to another, right? Like it's going to be different every time. Sometimes you can talk to them, sometimes you got to talk to a guy who talks to them. Like it's just like, oh, come on now.
Yeah.
So like, moved along with that, and then I kind of just got into being well, at that time became a husband, and just working, trying to like do the create the dream, so to speak, get the
Mhm.
home, get the family.
That's right.
And then a year ago, actually, well, it would have been August last year, I kind of got to a place where I said, it's time to get back to what I like doing, and more importantly, like I had not seen my good friends. Like I got, three really good friends,
Mm-hmm.
and I had not seen them in a long time, and there was a lot of water under the bridge. So I said, I'm going home. And at that same time, there was a band that I really admired growing up that got me through a lot of the hard times. And they were touring, they were doing their farewell tour. So I said, well, I'm going to get myself a camera and I'm going to go shoot this. And, didn't really know all the ins and outs that you weren't allowed to do that. But, went ahead and did it anyway. So followed them for 6 states.
Wow.
And then my buddy said, well, what are you going to do with all this footage, right? And I'm like, well, I think I'm going to do this YouTube thing. He's like, YouTube? He's like, I've been doing that for 10 years. I'm like, what? And this is my best friend in the world. He's like, I got a page of 130,000 people. I'm like, what have you been doing? Like, why did you never mention this?
Wow.
So I went online, I created the account, and I didn't put any of that footage up yet. I'm still working on it because
Oh wow.
it's a lot to go through. And you know, there might be some issues with it if the band's not happy.
Right.
But anyway, I started it out, and literally within like a week, we were in somebody else's chat room, and like I'd just miss him, like creating change. You'd go out, and I'd come in, and everybody would say the same thing. They're like, "Hey, you should talk to this guy creating change, or you should talk to this guy named Shine." So we started talking back and forth, and then started talking on the phone. And before we started doing the show, like with StreamYard, because I mean, neither one of us are computer savvy fellas, to put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we started pre-recording the show, so we did about 3 months of like the show before we ever actually did the show.
Oh, okay.
So we had a format and all that, and then Guy figured out, he's like, I got the StreamYard thing, man. He's like, check out this, and like, click, click, click. Like, off we go. I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it this way. So because it was easier, I find for both of us, like, and it's interesting now afterwards, is like, it's hard to do a video, I find. Like, if I'm just doing a song or I'm doing something like that, it's okay, but like the talk to the camera without having the bounce back, it's become it's it's still fun, but like I prefer doing it the way that we're doing it. So
Right.
yeah, it kind of built it built from there. No matter Guy, I mean, I pretty much met him, I'd say a month into it, and I started September. We started within 2-3 days. I think I started the 17th or 18th or vice versa, and then through Nemo and Explicit, and there was a few other people that were like, hey, check each other out. So that's what we did, and ended up here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Relationships run the world, man. I mean,
That's it. That's it.
humble, So that's pretty cool. Now you mentioned the band Chaos. What kind of music is that?
He was a performer, so like it was more like kind of like a cross between hip hop and pop, but like
Okay.
very like I don't know if you ever heard the song like Crabs in the Bucket or Saturday every day Saturday night. I can't wait for Sunday morning. That was one of his big hits.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was a pretty interesting character, and meeting him when I met him was cool because you know he would be kind of, how can I say it? Like he was still doing it, but like he sometimes this happens with people, even though they're doing what they love, they get frustrated with it, right?
Yeah.
And he was at that point. And I remember one of the last conversations we had. I was coming on the bus, like bringing back gear, throwing it on, and he's got both his suitcase packed, and he's heading to the door. And I'm like, "Where are you going? There's 14 dates left." He's like, "I don't know, but I'm going."
I'm done. I'm done.
Tell Tom I left.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, dude.
Do them yourself.
Yeah,
When you
exactly.
said you were like doing the engineer, the sound guy, you were doing like the board, the big board with all the buttons and everything.
Yeah, I do all that.
Man, you got to have an incredible ear, I guess, for that, huh?
Well, that's like, I guess that's one of the things that I didn't really notice it early on, because like one thing I had to learn was patience, right? Like you have to be incredibly patient.
Yes.
And like sometimes people, that's from working on the other side. When you're the guy playing, you pretty much get away with what you want. It's like, do this, do that, and like they'll be like, yeah, okay, and then they're still gonna do whatever they're supposed to. So it's a good balance between the two. But yeah, especially in the live clubs, like that was where, I guess, no pun intended, I really shined, because like this guy was he was incredible. Like he could be in the most down kind of state, and like there was a way where it's like start slowly bringing up the music, and like he would just come out and the hood would come off, and like an hour and a half this guy would light that place up.
Right.
And then as soon as the music stopped, it was just back down to yeah, it was cool, man. It was really
So
cool.
I got to ask you this, man. I mean, you're a guitar player. Now, what type of guitar are you playing? Folk, rock? The guitar itself, are you playing like an acoustic guitar, an electric guitar?
Well, now
What's your
Now
favorite?
I primarily write on acoustic. Like I'll write most of my stuff on acoustic,
Mhm.
but I don't. That's another thing. That's a good question. For when I first started playing, there was kind of like, all right, this is the kind of music you play, so these are the boundaries you stay in.
Right.
And that's something I don't recommend to any musician. Like don't or artist or whatever you do, don't put yourself in a box.
Yeah.
So when I started doing the YouTube thing, I was doing a few years before. I was helping I became a counselor for people with like addiction and mental health issues.
Okay. Good for you.
So one of the things that we were doing was music therapy.
Okay.
And honestly, I didn't really know what it was. They were like, "Yeah, here's this thing." I'm like, "Well, this just sounds like making beats and music, so I can do that. Let's do that." So I started doing that, and this guy came in. He started, trying to do, his thing to the speed I made. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's not work." But in my ears, I could hear a bit like, did it, did it, did it, did it. So then I would save all that stuff, and now I kind of circled back. So I'll do everything from like, it's a widespread these days. Everything from like kind of like I guess you'd say like a folk song to hip hop to almost like hard rock. So
Wow.
and yeah, all over this place. So
So
So wait a minute. Well, I'm sorry. Just
I'm
want
sorry.
to make sure we check some of these people out that's dropping the chats. And so celestial signs. Am I saying it right? She's on your. Is it celestial?
Celestial.
oh,
Huh? Yeah,
Selena,
so Celine.
yes, thank
Okay,
you.
so she's in there. So
Yeah,
and then Brandon from Palm Beach, and I think it was Brandon who said, yeah, he thanked you for your service as a firefighter, Walt, and thank you again for your service as a firefighter.
absolutely.
His brother.
And he said his brother was a firefighter down in the Florida area.
Yeah.
They
No.
also said Walt Talks was your link, so people want to check your channel out.
Wish I
Well,
had a link, man. I
yeah,
mean,
Walt Talk just got a name, so he doesn't
I
even have a
just got
YouTube channel
a
yet.
You should have
So
a channel.
yeah,
You got a good flow, man. You're very
yeah.
good.
So
Yeah.
Walt Talk just got his name, so he doesn't quite have the channel yet.
So I guess I'm kind of fraudulent because I don't really talk. Well, I talk, but only on the Big Jack show.
Yeah.
But
Nah,
I say he's like EF Hutton.
it
When Walt
counts.
talks,
hey,
It
when
man,
Walt
counts.
talks,
Yeah.
people listen.
hey, man,
Yeah.
he just needed a guy to ask bad questions. So here I am. You know what I mean? So,
Hey,
I love it.
whatever.
hey,
No.
let me ask you this, man. Have you ever heard of a group called Bad Brains?
Oh my. Are you? Yes.
So the
I
guitar player,
seen him twice.
the guitar player, Gary Miller, Dr. No, is my
Yeah.
first cousin.
What?
And here's the thing. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to see him the 20th because his mom just passed. So I'll see him
Oh
at her
man, I'm
memorial
sorry to
service.
hear.
But yeah, that's my first cousin, man. And they started when you talking about don't get caught in the
Okay, so then we can talk
incident.
punk rock.
Yeah,
We can talk punk rock, man.
Oh man,
Okay, all right, we're on the same page, man.
So
Like those.
we're in the process, and hopefully that Walt talks. Hopefully Walt talks will be able to get
If you
us
can get him on the
man.
show,
permissions. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. So yeah.
First of all, he's my big cousin, right? So you know,
Yeah.
he got me by like 7 years, maybe.
Mm.
So he's up in upstate New York, up in Woodstock. So
man.
first of all, I didn't want to run it because his mom passed. So Easter Sunday. So I'm having this conversation with him just about family stuff. So when I see him, I'm gonna run this down to him. But the first thing he's gonna ask me, because he's my big cousin, he's gonna like, who in the hell wants to listen to you talk? Let's start with that. So once I get past that, man, maybe I can get to the point where I'll be like, look, man, why don't you come on?
Oh man,
and have a conversation.
I remember the first time I ever seen one of their videos, and I was like, "What?
Wow, yeah.
What just happened?"
Yeah.
And then like that was like, okay, we got to figure out how to record these videos off the TV because it was unbelievable, man.
Right.
Those changes and the just wow.
And they
I can't
started
believe
out
that.
as a jazz band. They started out as a jazz band called Mind Power.
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
they started out as a jazz band, and they were down in the basement over Paul and Earl's house because they're brothers, and they're messing around. You know, they gone up to the 930 Club and gone up to Adams Morgan up in DC.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Madams Organ, which is in Adams Morgan.
Okay.
And next thing you know, man, they started playing punk rock. And then they had a manager, guy named Mo Sussman that owned Mo and Joe and Mo's restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And man, and they hit. Now I'm a DC guy, so I grew up on go-go.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I go to see them at the 9:30 club, man, and I'm watching people with safety pins in their eyes.
Yeah.
I just got the guard stuff, and I'm sitting in there, man, with a suit on, with a pair of wingtips, and yada yada yada. It's like the late '80s, early
Yeah.
'80s, mid '80s,
Yeah.
Yeah.
early '80s, and
Yeah.
and they hit, and man, I didn't know. I had never seen anything like it in my life, man. Guys,
No, I don't think anybody has since, like,
Right. Right.
or before. Like, they're like, when you talk to anybody like from like that knows that style of music or was a player, like they changed the game, man. Like, it went from like the Ramones, the Dead Kennedys, the Bad Brains.
yeah.
It's like, this is
Nah,
what
that's
just
cool.
happened.
Now that's
Yeah,
cool. Now it is,
that's
and
incredible.
when Walt turned
Yeah.
them on to me, I was definitely like, oh yeah, I can see, yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
So we want to say, Brandon said, Brandon from Palm Beach said he got to run and he really enjoyed the show. So thank you,
Brandon,
Appreciate you,
Brandon, for
Brandon.
being here, and definitely more than welcome to come back and hang out with us anytime. We come on every Wednesday and every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. And we already said the last Saturday of every month is the We Be Jamming live show. And you definitely will see Shine performing on the We Be Jamming live show because he's one of my regular, matter of fact, one of my top hosts on the We Be Jamming live show. So, yeah. So I just want to make sure we recognize some of the people that's in the chat. So B is out there better than Nightbot. And if everyone that's in here, if you haven't hit that like button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You know, let us know how we doing. Put some more chats out there. So I see Miles Walker, Positive Music, is in the chat, and we thank you for being here. Niecy Jackson's still out there. Celestial Signs is out there. And I'm hoping I'm saying that right. And I think I said Celine, right?
Selena the Celestial.
Yeah, Selena
yes.
Celestial. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So Brandon of Palm Beach, we just recognized you again. The Source was here. Sharon Jackson was here. Noble is here. And now here's the thing. If you don't have a blue jacket on and you're out there in the chat, and if you're in Shine's channel, he has to bring you on. I can't give you a blue jacket from my channel. So Shine would have to do it. So don't blame me. Just joking on that. But
put that all on me.
Yeah, I turn that on you.
Under the bus,
under the bus. BB, you go wrong. Yeah. So, anyway, we know that a lot of people been in here chatting, and we want to recognize
the Source
has been here today.
Absolutely.
And it is, and we're having a good time here with the Shine. Here being on the Iron Sharpening Iron show. Got my man Walt Talks out here, and right now they've been talking about a heavy. I don't even know what you want to call them. What a heavy, what they call heavy metal band, punk rock band,
man, thrash punk, man.
I watched one or two of their videos, and like I said, if we can get any one of them, even just get the permission to use their videos on the We Be Jamming live,
just to talk to them,
and that would be cool. So 100%.
You said Woodstock, New York. That's not far from me.
Yeah,
I could drive down in like about 3 hours. And
he's in Woodstock, man. But he just talked to him the other day. He said he's playing again. He has some health issues.
Okay.
But, he's doing good, man. But I gotta say, man, that like looking at me, I've been not all over the world, but I've been a lot of places in the world.
Yeah.
And seen a few T-shirts and yada yada yada. And just guys that I will probably never have a conversation with ever.
Yeah.
Kind of like being on a Harley Davidson, guys that I would never even talk to.
Yeah.
I say, hey man, what do you know about Bad Brains? Oh man, everybody starts reliving those moments, and it's like, oh, man,
that's awesome.
All of a sudden, man, we're in the bar and we're okay now, So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, welcome to the club. Yeah,
that was close. Yeah. So, Sean, you got any music coming out, man? You got anything on wax or CD, or how does that go?
Right now, what I'm doing is I haven't been like, cause for a minute there, like everything I do, I was just like putting it out. But now what I'm going to do is, and have been doing is I'm planning on working on just putting out actually vinyl. It's funny that you say that because there's one press left in Canada, and I always wanted to have just, if it never does anything, I don't care, but just to have it, you know what I mean? So they, I think I might do 1,000 press in probably July on tracks I've been working on that haven't been released, because I put a lot of them out just in different ways, but it takes a lot of time, honestly, to get it right, and I do all the mix and I do all the produce and all that stuff myself now. and that was probably the hardest part to get down, was like, how do you get this to sound good enough that, like, you know what I mean, it's not like breaking and each song's different. So I kind of got that on lock, and a lot of that came through YouTube. It was random people that like knew I was from Montreal or in the area, and they'd send an email and be like, "Hey, come over to our studio and let me show you a couple things." So I was like, "Ah, it's been really neat as far as meeting people who've been helping me level up in areas where I wish I would have known 20 years ago." You know what I mean? So,
But you know
but
what?
got them now. So yeah,
Man,
So, Sean, I'm gonna ask you, Sean, do you have any music you could share with us? Anything you want to put out there? Just drop.
sure.
You know how to
What
do it. You drop me the link. You know how to do
what
it.
would you like to hear? Would you like to hear
What would you
something
like to? What would you like to
melodic?
show? What would you like to show? I mean,
I can
keep it
show you
clean.
the. I can show. Since we're talking about bad brains, I think that I might have to go something a little bit heavier
Okay,
here.
well, keep it clean. Keep it clean. It's a family friend and
That's
family
right.
fun.
It
Yeah,
it is
so,
a family friend.
yeah,
You know
it's a
what?
family show. Now,
We'll
when
go.
we be jamming, you can get a little greasy, but don't. Now,
Oh,
and I do have a question that came up, and this is it says, "Have you ever been to Banff National Park?"
Banff.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
national park. Yeah, I
that's
think
an
that.
interesting question. I
Yeah.
actually worked in Banff and Canmore. As I mentioned at the beginning, I was an electrician, and that was one of the coolest periods of my life because I used to snowboard as well. When I was
Mm.
younger, I snowboarded. We used to do something called border cross. So you rode in three guy teams as fast as you could down these mountains. And looking back now, I think of how it was absolutely insane that was. But yeah, I did live out there for quite a few years, and I worked for the electrical company that was there. And I lived in Alberta for almost a decade
Oh,
in
okay.
in the Cochrane area. So
Right.
if they know Banff, they'll know Cochrane because that's in the
Yeah.
foothills right before. So
Yeah,
yeah.
we've been looking at a place to go, and we saw it, and I was like, we got to go and check it out. But when we found out that we had a guest on the show today that was from Canada, that was a question that was promoted or pushed to me, and
Yeah.
I had to make sure I dropped that question on you. So thank you for
A-
sharing that part.
Absolutely go, and I'll tell you, like, there's everybody knows Banff, but Canmore is really like the gem because you have it's the little bit smaller town before where like you have kind of like the local shops and all the really cool hikes. In fact, there's a Grotto Canyon, Heart Creek Mountain, and these are all places you can go and still see where like back in the day they like drew on the walls. What do they call the
Oh,
hieroglyphics or
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
whatever. Yeah, yeah. So I always recommend it. It's a place not like any other I've ever been. There's just something about being in the Rocky Mountains. It's like it's a whole nother level, man.
No, I got
Yeah,
you. Okay. No,
yeah,
I appreciate it.
yeah,
Only thing I've been, I'm honest, I go up there in the wintertime. And maybe you asked me if I've been to Niagara in the winter.
yeah.
I like the ice wine.
Oh
Oh yeah, I
yeah,
love
that's the
ice
good
wine.
stuff.
So yeah, so I go up there.
Yeah,
I'm like, man, because they only pick the grapes when they're frozen. That's the
that's
only time they
right.
will pick the
really?
grapes. They have to be frozen,
So
and they
Yeah.
that's the
got to
whole
pick
thing.
them barehanded. The
Mm-hmm.
bottle is real small, but my
It's
gracious, oh
small, but it's worth every
my god,
drop.
oh my
Yeah.
god.
Check that out. Okay.
You gotta get you some ice wine, man. And I'm like
Yeah.
Check
one
that
Oh
out.
yeah.
hundred percent. So
Oh yeah.
yes, I've been there in the wintertime, so I can get some ice wine. So
Ice
so
wine.
so we got Shine on the show. We got on the Iron Shop the Nine. We got my man Walt Talks out there. We're gonna drop your video so we can watch it, and then we'll come back
Sure.
and we're gonna dissect it a little bit for you. So you can
Yeah. Tear it
so,
apart.
yeah,
We know what we're talking about.
you know
Yeah.
what we're doing, right? So let me pop it up on the screen, and then we're
Yeah.
gonna we'll talk to you in a second. Then.
All right.
Did I put it up? I took it up and put it down. There we go.
Here you go. Check it. Do yourself a favor, come and take a ride with me. I'ma show you how the way things ought to be. Figured it out a long time ago. Just hit a few curves along this road. Hit a bumpy patch a little ways back. Nearly took my life and I could get it back. Tell me no and I'ma show you what I'll do. I'll push twice as hard, who the hell is you? Thinking that you got it right and there's ownership. Tell me how I gotta cruise around while I whip. into new stage, into new phase, into new phase, into new ways. What you gonna do? We insane. Tell me what you do to keep yourself sane. We insane. That's just a temporary pain in the main. Listen up, listen down. No one gonna keep you down. 1% or 10%, it really doesn't compensate anything that could have been. What you think it's seen its end. Underneath this blender bag, shoulders back and on your chin. Tell me why you get so strapped, running up a heart attack. Anxiety is in your brain, depression is all the same. Wondering what it is, spinning around it is. Rewriting these tracks, I can even get it. Are we insane? Tell me how you actually make it through the day. Are we insane? No, we're not, cause we're still using these brains. Let me check your brain. Can you see 3 sides to every story, man? They be saying we insane. This is the end to every other game. Pack it back for a minute while it's still attacking. I can't get in it. Listen to the things I'm rising up and I can't quit it. Wife and kids and all the same. School and things that not to blame. Who the hell is gonna be the one who always wants to pay? I know something I know me. I'm gonna be around and see all these clouds on and down. I'm gonna be profound. I'm the proud son. I will be the only one. This is how we get some cup and I don't get beaten. We insane. Tell me, man, what the hell are you gonna do? They say we insane. Look out, homie, this stuff's not going your way. So check your brain. Making the same choices, expecting different because we insane. But you're the only one who's got the ability to change. Listen up no matter what, how deep is it that cut? Bleeding out, screaming out for someone's help. No one's listening, everyone's gone. Everybody wants to get this on. I can see, but you can keep it, you can get this all night long. I will be around if I promise you my truth. My words are the only thing that I got, and this is true. My name was damaged long ago, but I'm back in the ring to bring it forth. Raise it up and for my son, and cause I bring it forth. This ain't nothing new, I've just been holding myself back. Listen to these things inside my head that there is attack. Waiting up inside of me, gaming in some forces. It don't matter, man, this ain't in my courses. We insane. Yeah, maybe for a little, but I'm back in the game. We insane. Chalk it up to life, man, this is all the game. Better check your brain. No matter what they say, all in it's the same. Yeah, we insane.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Hard going over here, man. So I like that. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That was like when I was mentioning before about doing the music therapy with stuff with guys, and I'm like, I remember this guy's like, I'm really into hip hop. I'm like, cool. I'm like, all right. So let me mix this stuff up for you. And he was going on, and I just like I heard the words right away, and I'm like, hey, you know what, man, I'm gonna do this too. Why not?
That's it.
Why not?
That's what's up.
I have a lot of respect for guys who have that kind of ear, who can in turn a idea, a beat, a sound, a tone, grab something from here and there. And I guess all of your experience just along the way, mixing and the board and playing, all that brings it all together, huh?
Yeah, man. It started, like with the six string, with like I was saying earlier, like when I was learning, like, I got one right here, so it's easier probably just to show you.
Okay.
But like when you're starting out, right? So it's like I'd be sitting there like listening to something like, right? So just something simple, right? Like and you'd have that, and then you'd be like, doom, doom, doom. So like when I was getting those beginning chords, what happened was you'd start to learn, okay, well, this is going to go here. And like, it was almost like my uncle said it best, because he was one of the best guitar players I ever met. And I asked him, like, because none of the things that he did on guitar traditionally make sense. Like, if you were to, like, this is how you play guitar, you'd be like, don't even try to follow Don. You're not going to be able to do it. Yeah. But what he said was, he's like, you just end up feeling the instrument, or you end up feeling that vibe, which with other guys I met that were trained musicians or classical musicians, if you want to call them that, they struggled the other way. So like where they had a strong suit where like they knew all these fancy things to do, I'm just like, well, I got this thing going here, and then you add to it. But if it was reverse function, they couldn't. Okay, no, this is what I do. This is what you do. So songwriting and like playing eventually became a merger, and I think like one of the greatest things that happened for myself was that, like I said, around that 23 area, I just ended up getting into the music scene altogether and taking enough time and living enough life and understanding, and hindsight's a heck of a thing.
Yeah.
Um, and then just being like, hey man, you're here for a short ride, so like why not just do what you want to do,
Oh,
So
man.
That's it.
yeah,
Personally about it.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah.
So again, thank you, Sean, for being on the Iron Sharpening Iron show.
Thank you,
We
man.
got B out there dropping links better than Nightbot ever could ever be. So B better
Yeah,
than Nightbot. Sandra's Art and Soul just came in the house and she's saying hello and hey chat. Desi's here. Thank you, Desi, for popping in, and thank you for being here. Sharon Jackson,
appreciate you.
Miles McWalker, Positive Music says he liked that one, or I want it said they liked that one. Brandon Palm Beach saying good night to everyone, and thank you,
Good night,
Brandon, for
Brandon.
popping in here and hanging. I know Noble's here. I know that the Source was here. Denise
I just
Nisi
wanted to
Jackson was here.
shout out Noble. I
But
want to say something. I appreciate you because like he's off and on. He comes to my page like the second I'll put a video out, that guy's there and he's got a comment on it. So I absolutely appreciate every single one of you. But I really wanted to say that. So yeah, thank
oh
you.
no, that's what's up. And I see that he came through your link. So
Yep.
and that's why I couldn't offer him the blue jacket, but it's okay.
I don't get
Yeah,
it.
like,
Why?
nah, yeah,
I think he's booed up on my side. I feel bad now.
nah, yeah. So it's all. Hey, man, don't. Nobody
Yeah.
knew that until you just said it. Nah, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Nah, just,
I outed myself. I'm done
yeah,
now.
yeah. Nah, you're all good. You're all good.
Yeah.
But nah, Noble, thank you for being a supporter because
Yeah.
and that's what it takes and people coming out. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and then they would say, like, say, any and everybody that's out there, we got Walt Talks on the show with us, and we got Shine out here, and we're talking, excuse me. So I need you to help me because I hear people playing the guitar
Mm-hmm.
and then people playing the bass. What's the difference?
Ooh, you're gonna get me in trouble.
Here we go. Oh, boy.
Well, the difference, the difference is like I believe, there's, it goes both ways. All right, you got your rhythm guitar players, and then you can almost have rhythm bass player. What I'd say makes the difference between a good bass player to maybe even an exceptional bass player is somebody who takes it further than just doing that backing boom boom boom, like they're doing that bam bing bing boom boom bam, like there's
Okay.
guys that just like slap at a bass, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So you gotta,
Yeah.
that's the difference, and it is an art. Like when I was younger and thinking being a guitar player was the greatest thing in the world, and then I met like a couple of these guys that could just, no, like it's a real skill set. And I mean, the strings are heavier. If you're Some of these guys play like fretless basses, which just blows my mind. It's like, how do you even know where to go? I don't know. But
Right.
again, that would be a great question for the Bad Brains because
No,
they
no.
have an amazing bass player
Yeah,
as well.
but I guess the question,
Yeah.
some of it is it a different set of strings? I mean, is it only
Mhm.
4 strings on the bass? So
Well,
I'm
you
really, I
can.
don't know on that. That's what I'm
Oh,
more.
okay. Well, you
Yeah.
can have 6 strings on a guitar. You can have 12 strings on a guitar. On a bass, typically you're gonna have 4. You can have a 5 string, and I think that they have a 7 string as well for bass.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. And you can be stand up, or it can be like your traditional.
Gotcha.
But as far as the roots and the patterns go, they're the same. They're the same. But on bass, you can't do like on a what we call a power chord, or like a traditional fingering, if you would
Right.
want to call it that. You have to know where to go, and you have to know where that walk down is and the run back up is.
Okay.
So there's certain things that are similar as far as the root notes go, but if you really want to take it to that next level, you have to, I guess like anything, really just kind of learn the instrument and spend time with it. But the big difference is the string count and that they're heavier. And in my experience, most guys that really take it like seriously, they play with their fingers, which a lot of guitar players will too, but a lot of guitar players play with the pick. Even if you
With the
can't
pick.
see it, they'll have one hidden under their
Right, right.
fingers. But bass is pretty well all fingers, yeah.
Nah, that's cool. But
And thumb with the slap.
Slap.
Yeah.
So I used to drive a limo part time, like 15 years. I drove Larry go Graham Central Station, but I got to go to their jam session, one of their rehearsal nights, and we sat in the studio. I sat in the studio with them for
Yeah.
like 6 hours.
Wow.
And to watch Larry Graham do his thing, man, it was incredible. I didn't
Yeah.
know I didn't even know bass could do that, man. And
No.
yeah,
Mhm.
and I guess let me ask you this, and Sean, you can help me with this. So I'm an R&B guy, I'm a funk guy, I'm a go-go guy. So I guess the bass is more prevalent
Mhm.
than it is in say rock.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
like there's certain rock bands that like I mean like you got like Rush and then you know Primus and stuff like that where like you know even the Chili Peppers, right? Like
Right.
they're bass driven on some of their songs, but then like the guitar's kind of floating. But yeah, definitely more you're gonna get it more in R&B, and I love it because like for when you're doing like the mixing and trying to like put everything together, I find it easier because bass and drum goes together real well.
Okay. Bass and drum. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So like to get those highs of the guitar in
Right.
properly, so it takes a minute, but you can do it. But I just like that groove. You know what I mean? Like ride with that groove.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
so, why'd you see Sharon Jackson say
See
you're
that,
telling
man?
your
Yeah,
age?
yeah,
You're
yeah. Hey,
telling
look,
your age. Yeah.
hey, everybody, get off of my grass. But
Yeah, yeah.
man, you know, it's amazing to see that because you're talking to a guy who can never play instruments, right? But you know, I guess I just didn't have the discipline because I probably could have learned it, you know. And my cousin tried to teach me how to play the bass, and then he used to punch me in my chest to learn how to play the guitar, and I was bad at both of them. But you know, the thing for me, man, is like to have somebody sit down and listen, and like you say, a fretless bass. It's like to watch the magic, man. You know, it's incredible.
That's you nailed it. You
Yeah.
nailed it. It's like you know I wanted to talk about this before, but one of the reason I stuck with guitar was because there was this moment where you leave the room, right? Like it's just you and you're there with that thing, and you know they refer to it as the jam. And what's interesting about that is that like now they have scientific studies where they can show like if there's 4 or 6 or however many musicians are in that room, they all link up on like the same wavelength, and you're gone. Like it's like traveling through time, man.
So I'm a big fan of Jubu Smith.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guitar player, played for Frankie Beverly and Maze. And their song "Golden Time of Day," there's a riff that he does. I guess it's not a riff. Maybe I'm using the wrong word, but he does, you know, dun, 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 dun. And man, it just takes me to another place. When I hear "Golden Time of Day" by Frankie Beverly and Maze, that guitar piece, and he also played for Tony, and did that guitar piece. I'm just like, I'm amazed. And like you say, for therapy, back to your therapy session.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how music calms the soul. I mean, it's just truly, truly amazing. And hey, man, I salute you because the average guy who's a musician, doesn't even make a living at his music, but will play it for free. And I use my cousin as an example. Yeah. It's like the commitment to be able to live your dream or to be able to do what you do and share that with the world. And like you say, you share a lot of your music on the internet. So it's not even about the money for you.
No, man.
I want people to see and hear. And I appreciate that because that's a very selfless act. You know,
that's
a selfless act.
That's very kind. It was something that I remember like 14 was like I think the first show on this that we played, and like you had to book it. Back in the day you could do this stuff when you're 14. Now the rules have changed, but we booked this place, and I remember coming out and bringing out the first chord, right? And we put out this 14-track CD, and it was recorded terribly on like this like just horrible, but that place was packed. It was only supposed to have 300 people. We had 500 in there, and then there was like another 150 waiting outside. and you go to sing and everybody is singing over you. You couldn't hear like
Right.
yourself, and like that was a moment where it was like out of your body, where it's like, what is
That's
happening
like
right
a
now?
great time, man. It's like
Oh,
I was there,
wild,
man. I was there.
wild,
Like,
wild. And then just
right,
hearing that like kid come up to you, and I mean, kid, I was a kid at the time too,
right, right.
but like they're like, oh, I know every song in this and blah blah blah, and this song like, and I'm like, this is what it's about. That's it. That's all it's about. None of the
That's
rest matters. Yeah.
That's what's up. Now that is cool to hear, because that's one of the normal. I'll ask you the question: what is that? You know, I was wondering, when did you realize that you was an entertainer, that you can actually get on the stage and perform for people? Where was that moment? I think you shared part of it right there, but
Yeah.
was it a time before, like you was at the Thanksgiving Thanksgiving dinner and standing in front of everybody performing, like, look, I can do it? Uh,
No, it was more of out of sight, out of mind around the house, right? But it was when we had this school, and I had this. He was a fairly known like music producer at the time, and I don't know what happened, but he ended up teaching at one of these schools that I was going to at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a band from our hometown, and he shot this video just in a way that was like mind blowing to me. Like he shot it in the cafeteria, and what he did was he took these tables and he draped them, like
Okay.
just stuff that like no, unless you had the mind for it, you probably wouldn't think of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this one video made this band, and I remember hounding him forever, being like, "Come on, you got to help me! I got this really great band." And he's like, "No, you don't. Like, come back in 6 months." Like one of those kind of things. So it was like, all right. So it kept on him and it kept on him, and eventually he got in and he's like, one of these songs ain't half bad. And I was like, which one? He wouldn't tell you, right? Like he was one of those guys.
Wow.
So about a month later, he's like, hey, we're having this show. And I forgot to mention this, but I was in a cadet program. I used to do stair drumming and stuff like that.
Okay.
So that was right around the time I learned guitar, and but I was writing the songs, and like how I've always wrote songs is the same. It's not just like I hear it on the guitar. It's like I hear it in my head first, and then I pick up the guitar, and then everything else just kind of clicks into place, right?
mm,
So he's like, we're playing this, we're having this thing. If you can get a group together, I'm like, oh, yeah, I can do that. And I had no idea how I was going to do that. But I found a couple guys that could play. So I showed them the songs I already wrote. And the first time I ever played, I was 13, and I drum and I sang the set, right? So it was like a half-hour set, and there were songs that I wrote, and I drum and I played. And that was the moment I was like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. This is it. This is it here. So,
Man.
yeah.
that's cool. That really is cool.
Great experience.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Nah. So, hey, Sean, I'm truly saying thank you again
Oh man, I appreciate you
for
having me.
being on the show, sharing your gifts, sharing your stories, sharing your talents with us. Again, I'm a super fan in the community and the YouTube community with your music, and that's why you on the We Be Jamming Live. Everybody don't get a permanent spot. But
Thank
you
you.
locked in, so you
Yeah,
House
locked
man.
band.
in.
He's the house band.
Yeah, say, well, I got the house band there. I'm telling you. So,
Yeah.
and
Appreciate
I
that.
was truly honored when I remember being on the they call it there's a Guy and Shine show, and that's their show, the Good Vibes with Guy and Shine,
Yeah.
and being on there, and I remember coming up on the stage with y'all and asking y'all to to actually
Yeah.
be the house band for the We Be Jamming Live, and y'all accepting, because that meant a lot to me. I have a lot of visions, a lot of ideas, but at the same time, I'm limited on talent when it comes to the music side of the world. I love good music, but like I said, I don't play an instrument. I have a son to play an instrument, but we
He
got two of
plays
them. Yeah.
amazing, I must say. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
incredible. Heavy
So
hitters. Shout out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the heavy hitters. Yeah. So,
Yeah, man.
and my other son, my third son, he plays the drums. So they
No
played
way.
together. Yeah, they played together. So I don't know how
Nice.
it didn't come here. I didn't get it at all. So, but it's
Yeah,
okay. It's okay. It's
Inspiration.
okay.
that's all right.
It's okay. So, well, with that being said, I thank you for being here. I think
Well, thank you.
you are 100% a Hall of Famer. So anytime you want to come here and pop up on the stage, you're more than welcome.
Uh,
You just shoot it in the chat and say, "Hey, I'm here. I want to come up." you are more than welcome to come up here and hang out with us. I want to thank everyone that came here and that's been supportive in the chat today. I see Cindy Lifestyles and More is here, and thank you, Cindy, for popping in. She said she was on a break and she's watching, so I appreciate that. Sharon Jackson, B Better Than Nightbot, been dropping links all over the place, and thank you, B, for all your help and your hard work. Walt Talk, thank you for being on the stage with me.
Yeah, great meeting you, Walt.
Man,
That's
it's
awesome,
a pleasure,
man.
It's been a real pleasure, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So Desi's out there saying he's watching. He's going to catch up. So Desi, thank you. Sandra's Art and Soul. Thank you for being here and hanging out with us. Denise Nisi Jackson, Miles McWalker, Positive Music is in the house. So thank you. Brandon came through. We know that. The Source came through. We know that. Noble, your supporter, came through. And thank you, Noble. And if you haven't hit that like button, excuse me, and you're here, you haven't hit that like button, go ahead and hit that like button.
Smash
let us
that
know.
screen. Double tap that thing.
Double tap that screen. Hit those hearts and everything else. I mean, let's boost this channel up and let's boost it up. We know that Selena is here. Thank you for Selena for coming through and hanging with us. I mean, we're just going up and down, and I'm like running the credits around, trying to just say thank you for everyone who's supported the channel, supported the show. And let's keep it moving. We're trying to do great things with the Iron Sharpening Iron show. We got the We Be Jamming Live. We know that's going to be May 31st. And then we also introduced a new show, and we did the pilot last week, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. And that's the Gentleman's Journal. And so we're rocking. So Sean, I know we'll be talking more and getting you up on that stage and have you up there with the Gentleman's Journal. So there's some great things that's coming through this neighborhood, through this community. We are the Grow and Glow Together community. And is it glow and grow or grow and glow? Glow and grow. Yeah. 100%. Either way, we're going to grow and we're going to glow. Right. But it is grow and glow. So hit that hashtag grow and glow together. That's the community we are, and that's what it's all about. Being here for one another. You know, if each one would just reach one, we would all grow and glow. So before we pop out of here, I'm gonna try to see if I can find it. So bear with me, Walt, and y'all can, because I got to find our theme music before we roll out of here for the day. So if I don't find it, if I don't find it, I think I'm going to get in trouble. So I better try to find it real quick. So,
It's your life, man. It's your life.
It's my life. It's my life, but it's all good.
One life to live.
Yeah. The thing is, it was a beautiful song that was given to us, and we thank Miss B for dropping that on us. And but we're going to go ahead and we're going to close out. So Sean, before we leave, is there anything that you want to share with the world before we close out this show today?
Tell the ones that you love them. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't believe them when you tell it. It's not as simple as it is. And keep on shining. And thank you for having me on the show. It's a great meeting both of you. We'll see you next time.
Oh man, that's what's up. So we're gonna pop this song, and that's how we're gonna close out the show. Thank you for everyone that's been supportive, and we'll be talking to you later. We love you all. Have a blessed rest of your week, and we'll see you. What's today's Wednesday, so we'll see you Sunday. All right. Thanks.
Thanks.
Big Jack's spinning wisdom tonight. Iron sharpens iron in the glow of the light. Life lessons dropping like rain on the scene, reminding everybody what it truly means. Grow and glow, together we rise, finding strength in each other's eyes. Lean on me and I'll lean on you. We'll build a world that's bold and true. Wall steps up, calm and steady as stone, a legend story in a voice of his own. Talks about battles, the scars he wears. It shows how the fight only makes you care. Grow and glow, together we rise, finding strength in each other's eyes. Lean on me and I'll lean on you. We'll build a world We're bricks and blocks that craft the dream. Alone we're small, but together we beam. So here's to the grind, here's to the climb. Every soul matters, it's our time. Show that they care. The stage is hot with truth flowing free. A bond of life for you and me. Grow and glow, together we rise, finding strength in each other's eyes.